As I've been doing drawing recently, of course, and also reading the book Perspective Made Easy by Ernest, Ernest Norling, there was a page that was talking about avoiding overcrowding, and I'm going to draw it to show you what it was. Because, like, I've been thinking of it a lot, and I'm kind of like wondering, well, you'll see. But basically, it all has to do with, like, things that can't possibly overlap because they are too close together. But, like, I think they could be farther back, and it just could be a perspective thing. Not too far on that line. Still not getting it right. I'm going to try to move my canvas to get a better angle. Approach angle. And I will draw all of the sides of the box. Drawing boxes takes long. It's just something that I have found. I think my speed has greatly improved over time. Like, I want to say in the past it used to take me about 5 minutes to draw a box. Which is a bit frustrating when you're trying to do work, because I could find it a bit fatiguing. It takes a lot of mental effort. Every time you draw a line, I feel like there's always some amount of your brain that you're kind of burning a bit. I know that sounds funny, but like I feel like with a lot of drawing, you're gonna have to take a break at some point. Just a way of it. But I'll also try to cut into the forms to kind of show what the book was talking about. Out there. Yeah, it was a bit off. I keep missing it. So hard to do. Just a tip. When I was trying to find the back corner, I drew 3 dots. They're a bit hard to see, but I've always found that when you place a bunch of dots like that close together, it can be difficult, and you really have to focus even harder on the starting point, which really puts a strain on one. Which I do highly suggest that if you're starting out, you you practice in 25-minute intervals and then take a 5-minute break, or else you can get burned out. So I'll be frank, you'll get burned out if you don't take breaks. And personally, I have never been good at avoiding burnout. I feel like I get burned out quite easily. And I'm always trying to think, how could I get over that point? And maybe there's not a good answer. But I'm always trying to look to how I could get through it. But sometimes I would caution, like, be able to differentiate between a burnout and being tired. There is a difference, I found. If you work a day job at all, or even if you're in school, I would say that it could be, that can contribute to it. Any field you're using your brain a lot. Missed it. Missed it again. Okay. I don't like that line. It looks like it's too steep. I should have put it here. I think that was the point I committed to, but I saw this other point here and I was a bit unsure. Okay. We have our box, even though it looks a bit off. But now I want to draw a cylinder. And you know what? I'm sorry, I didn't draw the back dimension, so I better do that before I forget. As you can tell, I'm a bit fatigued now, as my workday ended, and now I'm kind of battling it. I should have had more coffee. I gotta re-energize, or maybe drink more water. So, I keep thinking of this backside that I'm drawing. I'm trying to think of it like as if it's sitting on a table. But it's difficult. I guess it's weird because, like, what it would really be like, it would be kind of like the corner of a table, if you can kind of think of it like that. Like, all of this is going to be sitting on a corner. If you, like, think of, like, a dinner table, like, with legs and all that. And, you know, it's got, like, some type of table legs. I'm going to keep that in because I think that's a good way to think of it. As soon as I can get this leg a bit straighter. Yeah, I think, you know, it's not like sitting, like, there is an eye level, but, you know, it's kind of like that. I think that's a good way to think of it. I really had to sit back for a second and think about how the object is sitting in 3D space. I feel like more often than not, trying to establish something like a table egg could be better to do initially rather than later, because I feel like that dictates everything else you're going to be drawing. Okay, we have our box now. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to draw a cylinder, and I'm going to start by placing kind of like an axis to how our cylinder is going to be oriented. And I think I should have drawn 2 dots. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay. Now I'm going to draw the ellipses that make up our top and bottom of our cylinder. And they are going to taper ever so slightly. But the funny thing is, now that I drew this cylinder here, I realized I kind of drew it to make it seem as if it isn't really colliding so much with the box. And maybe I'll draw another one to show it. Well, I guess you could think of it like this, right? When you overlap objects in a scene, I think the one in front is always going to call more attention to itself than the other one. So, granted, I'm drawing through my forms. If you were to say to do it in a painting, you could try to draw through your forms like that, but I feel like more often than not you would draw something on the side of the box or some other plane that would obscure that view, so the original thing you drew would be a bit hidden. But I think it is worth it that if you were to draw it, you would still get the structure right. So I think it's worth drawing it, even if you can't see it, or even though it may not be used to, even if it wouldn't really be purposeful for the composition. I think it can be helpful. The other thing here is, I feel like you could really believe the illusion that it's not colliding with a box, it's just kind of on the side of it. It's like it exists as another object. You see, it's not cutting through here. I'm going to draw another cylinder on this side, and we're actually going to cut through the box, and I'm going to kind of show you with another form. I'll do another cylinder again, but I'll show you how it, not only is it sitting within it, but, well, I'll just show you. Better to show a drawing than to talk it to death. And in this case, it's kind of like our cylinder is really going to be colliding. It's as if I'm placing it in it, and or a portion of it for that matter. Or maybe I should have, I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to kind of make it go through the back, and I'm going to kind of make it a bit thin, or a little thinner. But I guess that's not the best position to do it. I was trying to draw it in, but like when you do that, it would be as if it's already colliding. Like if I was to draw a cylinder within the box here, I think I would need to commit to some ellipse, taking up the bounds and kind of going through it. And I don't think I'm really looking for that. I think I'm just trying to show how like a side portion it would be conflicting with it. And let me think. Because like this line I drew here, it's establishing that it's not sitting within the box, it's kind of like on the side. And I'll show you how a portion of it is going to be colliding. Like a portion of this cylinder is within the box. So I'll show you. Should have ghosted that line more. Okay. So there's quite a few illusions going on here. What I would say the best way to kind of think of it is you can tell that this half here is coinciding with it. So let me show you. Obviously the cylinder is taller than our box here, even with the perspective. And I'll kind of show you what side is cutting through. Because the box is about this high. And if you look on the other side, it's cutting through over here. It's like going through it. That's like this section of the cylinder that you still have it cutting through. And it's kind of like that. And the interesting thing here is considering how it's like cutting through the plane, I think the best way to think of it would be something along the lines of that, or maybe it should be on the top surface. That's kind of how I'm thinking of it. Like a section of the cylinder is cutting through. I'm trying to find that portion. Now I keep thinking maybe it would have been better if I also drew that line, because I'm thinking that like I should have connected that and that, and I think that kind of describes how the cylinder is cutting through. It's an interesting portion. But now I'm looking at it, I keep thinking I did something wrong. It's hard for me to tell. I think the problem here is that, yeah, it cuts through, but there's also that curvature of the cylinder as well. It's kind of like that. I think that that's kind of the way that I would describe it. Either that or I'm making some type of bad error here. Because I keep wondering why the portion of the cylinder wouldn't make that same like smile shape. Well, I guess because it's curving, like a percentage of it is within it. But for some, okay, because it's like following it along the curvature, I think that that's what is going on. So like in this case, that's kind of like a bit of a danger. I feel like when you have that, it's really affecting it. And let me draw one more. I want to draw one more thing. I want to draw. Maybe a sphere would be a good way to see it. Oops. So we have a sphere. I think adding these lines could really help go to show it. And I think like when you draw it like that, I think it's a bit ambiguous whether it's sitting, whether it's merged with the box or whether it's not merged with the box. And when I'm thinking of if it would be merging anyway, I feel like it would be taking up like a corner like that. I think it would be kind of something like that. And I drew that line there, and I think maybe that's not so important to do. Rather, it's just the chunk and the curvature of the chunk that is taking up the sphere. And when I'm kind of looking at it like that, I keep thinking of like it's like a fourth that would be cutting it out. So it's kind of like it's a bit ambiguous for. When you draw things close together, it's kind of I feel like it could always be a bit ambiguous whether it's truly in front of it or whether it's merged with it. And I think you may have to do some perspective tricks to try to figure that out, or you could even draw denoting lines. Like, let me show you the piece that I'm talking about. Perhaps if I rotate it a bit, or no, I'll keep it like that. Think of it like a bit of a tent. Kind of goes up. It's like a section of the ball. And like if we had the other side of our sphere, be kind of like that, but you know, we took away that portion of the sphere, so it's a bit more difficult to see it. And like I guess that side would be like kind of have a square plane. Let me think of it for a second. Like I keep thinking something like that. No. It's really hard for me to rotate this in my head. I wish I had some type of ball that I can split into 4 sections. Well, I guess it would kind of be like that. I'm not visualizing it right. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I think I need to think more about how close together objects can give the wrong illusion and kind of show a weird crowding effect. Well, goes to show you how little I know. Thanks for sticking through if you watched this video. If you have a question, please ask in the comments, and maybe you'll point out an egregious mistake that I'm making. But hey, if you like my channel, please subscribe to it. Thank you for listening. Bye.